everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Tom.
Hey, it's our food unit. And I usually like our food units. It's one of my favorite units that we do. We learn about new things. We're going to be talking about a cooking technique that was introduced not too long ago. It first appeared in 1985. So it's a really kind of brand new, not brand new, but it is relatively new to the cooking world. I love cooking competition shows like Top Chef, so I have seen this particular technique used, and we're going to talk about what it is, how you do it, and if any of our listeners out there are into foodie world, they like, gourmet cooking, they might want to listen up.
Okay, so let's get to it. Let's listen to the entire contents of our lesson now one time.
Have you ever tried cooking a meal only to end up with burned food? Well, with sous vide cooking, you can avoid such disasters and guarantee your food is cooked to perfection. Sous vide, a French term meaning under vacuum, involves sealing food in an airtight bag and then cooking it in a temperature-controlled water bath for an extended period. This method allows you to produce consistent and predictable results every time. The secret lies in the precise temperature control achieved through water as a medium, ensuring even and gradual cooking. Meanwhile, the vacuum-sealed bags preserve the food's flavor, texture, and nutritional value. One of the primary advantages of sous vide is its accuracy. Traditional cooking methods, such as grilling or frying, often involve guesswork, which can result in overcooked or undercooked meals. With sous vide, you can set the exact temperature you desire to remove this risk. Convenience is another tremendous benefit of sous vide. Simply set the temperature, immerse your vacuum-sealed ingredients, and let the magic happen while you attend to other tasks. Sous vide virtually eliminates the need for supervision, providing ample opportunity for you to multitask. When cooking sous vide, however, it's crucial to be aware of the danger zone between 4.4 degrees Celsius and 54.4 degrees Celsius. This is the temperature range at which bacteria can multiply rapidly or are unlikely to be killed, potentially spoiling the food. To ensure food safety, it's recommended that you maintain the cooking temperature above the danger zone and comply with proper food handling guidelines. Sous vide is an excellent option for home cooks and professional chefs alike. Just give it a try. Not only can you sharpen your culinary skills, but you'll also feel satisfied with results that will turn your taste buds into little fireworks of joy.
Okay, everybody, it's time for us to discuss the contents of today's lesson, and we're talking about cooking with sous vide. Okay, this is a French term, so it's not Sous Vide, it's sous vide, which means under vacuum in French. Sous also is used to describe the subordinate chef in the kitchen. You've got the chef, and then you've got the sous chef. And in this particular case, though, it's slightly different. We've got cooking using a vacuum.
A vacuum technique. Yeah, it's an interesting piece of equipment. Actually, nowadays, a lot of people in their homes, I have one, they're not expensive. You can buy these vacuum-packed machines to seal and store food for a longer amount of time. So maybe you go to a superstore, the one that we have here in Taiwan, Costco, and you're buying lots of muffins or lots of cookies or something, and you don't want to eat all of them at once, which is bad. So you can take a plastic bag and then vacuum seal it so there's no air going in or out, and it preserves that piece of food for much longer than normal. I have one of those. They're kind of great, actually. So this is a similar technique. You would put the food in a vacuum-sealed bag and then in this water bath, they call it, but it's a special piece of equipment. And then you could walk away, leave it, you program it, leave it, and go cook the rest of your meal.
That sounds like something I used to buy in my early days in Taiwan. They sold these things in boxes that were food, vacuum-packed in little packets or whatever, and all you had to do is stick it in boiling water for maybe 10 minutes or so.
It's the same sort of idea, yeah.
And then pour it over rice, and you've got yourself a tasty meal without a lot of cooking, without a lot of fuss. I think that's very useful for students or single people, but this is kind of similar, but we'll talk about it more in detail now. We're beginning with a question here. Have you ever tried cooking a meal only to end up with burned food? Yes, this does happen sometimes. You have the heat on too high, or you go into the other room and you forget about the food and you come back, oh my goodness, I burned the steak. Who would like to eat that? It's very, very well done.
I've burned a lot of food just because I'm not paying attention, or you have the heat up too high and you're not careful. You walk away. Maybe you're watching TV at the same time. That's always dangerous. You're probably going to cook or burn your dinner. Well, with sous vide cooking, you can avoid such disasters, and you can guarantee your food is cooked to perfection, cooked to just the right temperature, the right amount of wellness or doneness. So you can really control it quite well. And you don't have to babysit the food. You can work on your other dishes that you want to serve. That's the best thing about it, I think.
Okay, and you want to cook to perfection. You want to cook it so it is perfect. And let's move on now to the next paragraph. It says, sous vide, a French term meaning under vacuum, involves sealing food in an airtight bag and then cooking it in a temperature-controlled water bath for an extended period. So under vacuum is what sous vide means, and vacuum just refers to when there's no air in a particular place. Like in space, it's a vacuum out there, there's no air out there, and of course we do have some containers that we make into vacuums for maybe scientific experiments. So there's no air there. We can check pressure and things like that. And so this involves sealing food in an airtight bag. Of course, if something's airtight, air cannot get in or leave. And then when you have this airtight bag, you cook it in a temperature-controlled water bath for an extended period. So the water bath has a set temperature. It's temperature-controlled, like various indoor facilities in certain places. They're temperature-controlled, so they're not too cold, so they're not too hot. Like in an airplane, I think it's temperature-controlled, so it's not too hot or cold there. And they put this in the water bath for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, so you also need a sous vide machine. I just want to mention.
Okay.
It's not enough just to, put your food into a vacuum-sealed bag. If it's going to be moderating or controlling the temperature, you need a machine to do that. There are some expensive models out there. I was just looking online, though. You can buy one for $60 that isn't attached to an app, or Wi-Fi, in $60, and it will control your temperature for a certain amount of time. But you do need one of the machines to do this. And you would set the temperature and how long you want it to cook, and then you could walk away. So airtight. You also use airtight sometimes if you're watching a crime show or a crime movie. If someone has an airtight alibi, it means they have somebody who can be a witness that they were not anywhere near where the crime took place, and that's an alibi. Oh, I can't possibly have committed the crime because I was with my mother all night at a party. That's an alibi. Airtight means you just can't break it. So yeah, you have to have an airtight bag, and then cooking it in the temperature-controlled water bath for an extended period would require that machine. This method allows you to produce consistent and predictable results every time, which is kind of nice because cooking's kind of a crap show. You never know what you're going to get, right? So sometimes what you've cooked, many, many times doesn't turn out as well. That happens sometimes. If something's consistent, though, it's the same again and again and again. It doesn't change. And we love people who are consistent, can perform up to a certain level again and again and again. People aren't as consistent, though, sometimes as machines. Machines are easier to control.
If you run a restaurant, of course, you need to be consistent with your food. It can't be really tasty one night and really awful the next night. It needs to be the same from night to night so you can keep your customers. And yes, indeed, this method will let you produce consistent and predictable results every time. It won't be changed at all. It won't be too cold or too hot. It will be perfectly cooked. And the secret lies in the precise temperature control achieved through water as a medium, ensuring even and gradual cooking. So water's temperature can be controlled more so than other substances, I suppose. And that's how this thing works. That's the secret. The secret lies in this precise, exact temperature control when you use water as a medium or when you use it as something to cook with.
Yeah. Medium here just means as a tool. So you're ensuring even and gradual, little by little, cooking. Meanwhile, the vacuum-sealed bags preserve the food's flavor, texture, and nutritional value. So sometimes if you watch chefs use this particular method, when they put the piece of food, usually it's meat, when they put a piece of fish in there or a piece of meat, they'll also add other herbs and spices and flavoring so that also goes into the food while it's cooking. So it then takes care of that flavoring. Texture refers to how something feels. I was just talking to one of my Taiwanese friends over the weekend, and they were curious why I didn't like hongdao. And I just said, I don't like the texture. It's not the flavor. Like, the flavor's fine. I don't like mushy, soft textures. That's not what I like to eat. And that's one of the reasons, Tom, that I don't like sous vide cooking. I don't like the texture very much. I like crispy, crunchy, deep fried, or even roasted a lot better. But yeah, sous vide is one technique that people are using, especially chefs who own this piece of equipment already. It also helps preserve the food's nutritional value, which is great because a lot of times when we boil vegetables, we lose a lot of the vitamins and minerals in those vegetables, and that's not good. We need as many vitamins and minerals as we can get.
We certainly do, and what we need to do right now is listen to our Chinese teacher, but stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Hello everyone, 我是派老师。今天讲解的是10月30号 Unit 15 Perfect Cooking Every Time with Sous Vide。这个单元是文艺选填的练习题，内容跟舒肥烹饪法有关。舒肥源自法文的 Sous Vide， 表示在真空状态下。这种料理方式最主要的卖点是让食材不会煮得过头，而且比较可以保留食物的营养价值。我们在主题解说前，老师要提醒大家，答题时记得先看有哪些选项可以选，先大致把这些选项的词性标示出来。虽然有些字不止一种词性，不过根据句子结构，可以判断该题空格应该填入什么词性的单字，再根据文意找正确选项，这样会比较有效率哦。那我们现在就一起来解题吧。好，现在请看到第2段，文章开头提到舒肥烹饪法是完美的料理方式，让你可以在烹调的时候不用担心食材会烧焦。接着就请看第一题 Sous vide 是法文，意为真空。这个烹饪法的过程包含把食物密封在密封袋里面，在控温水槽当中烹煮 for a 或者 an 空格 period。第一题空格前有不定冠词 a 或者 an， 后面有单数可数名词 period， 空格应该是个形容词，修饰后面的 period。我们再用文意筛选，考量前后文连贯， 因此第一题正确答案是 H extended 长时间的，表示 Sous Vide 源于法文，是一种烹调方法。先把食物放在密封袋里面，在控温水槽当中长时间的烹煮。Sous Vide 让每次料理结果都能够一致、可预测。秘密在于用水当作介质，实现精确控温。紧接着，请看第二题，空格后面是对的连接词 and， 前面单字的词性相同，后面的 gradual 是形容词，所以第二题空格也必须从选项当中找形容词。考量前后文，第二题正确答案应该选 E even， 表示在精确控温的水槽当中处理，确保食物能均匀和逐步到位的烹煮。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. Let's continue with our lesson. Again, the subject for today's lesson is something called sous vide. It's a way to cook and not burn your food or not undercook it. You can cook your food to perfection. And yes, sous vide means under vacuum, so it involves sealing food in an airtight bag, and then you cook it in water that has a temperature control, and you can produce consistent results. And, of course, it's that precise temperature control of that water that is the secret to success with this particular method of cooking. And, of course, it preserves the food's flavor. It also preserves the food's texture, the way it feels in your mouth, and also its nutritional value, which is good. And moving on now to the next paragraph, it says, one of the primary advantages of sous vide is its accuracy. Accuracy refers to how accurate something is, how true it is, and indeed, you want the food to be consistent every time. Accuracy and consistency are pretty much the same thing in this context.
Now, we're talking about some of the advantages of sous vide. It's accurate. Traditional cooking methods aren't quite as accurate. They're not accurate at all, and you have to be a pretty good chef to be consistent in your cooking if you're not using a machine. So we've got grilling, where you go and you have a grill that works either on charcoal or what's another? Gas grills. Some of the grills run on gas. Or maybe you're frying food. It takes a lot of guesswork. Now, if you're a chef, you've cooked so many years that chefs can tell by the touch whether something is ready or done or not. I can't. I don't cook that much. Guesswork just means you're guessing. You're guessing whether something's done or not. And that can result in overcooked or undercooked meals. That's a big no-no if you're in the restaurant business. If somebody wants a steak that's rare and you give them a steak that's medium, they're not happy. Or maybe it's the reverse. They want a steak that's well done and you give them a steak that's rare. Again, not good customer service. So when you're just using these traditional cooking techniques, it takes a lot of experience, I would say, to be consistent.
Right, and these are traditional cooking methods. Grilling, of course, you'll do that during your barbecue for a moon festival when it comes up. And, of course, frying could refer to frying like in a wok, with oil, or it could be deep frying with oil. And, that involves a lot of guesswork, and you're going to end up with some overcooked or undercooked meals. With sous vide, you can set the exact temperature you desire to remove this risk. Again, the medium is the water, and you can carefully control the temperature of the water so you get consistent, accurate results.
That's right. Convenience is another tremendous benefit of sous vide. When I was watching the cooking competitions, that was one of the primary reasons why sous vide was used. A chef could put something into the sous vide cooker or a water bath and then walk away and do some of the other more complicated dishes and come back and their fish or meat would not be burned or underdone. Tremendous here is one of our vocabulary words. It means great. wow, what a tremendous job you did. Wonderful. So it just means really good. Excellent, tremendous benefit. Something that's good about something is a benefit. So what do? You simply set the temperature. You immerse your vacuum-sealed ingredients and let the magic happen. If you immerse something, you're putting something usually into something else, usually water. If you immerse yourself in water, you're covered with water. You can also immerse yourself in other things, like maybe you're a big reader and you love this novel that you just picked up, and you just want to immerse yourself in the novel, in the book. You don't want to think about anything else, or you kind of forget your other responsibilities. You can immerse yourself in something that you really enjoy. So here you're immersing the vacuum-sealed ingredients, and then you stand back, and the magic happens because, as Tom said, that water is actually cooking your food, and it's controlled by some machine that controls the temperature.
And then you can attend to other tasks. You can do other things. And Sous Vide virtually eliminates the need for supervision, providing ample opportunity for you to multitask. If you multitask, you do 2 or more things at the same time. And of course, if you're a chef or a cook or a housewife or whatever, you've got lots of dishes to think about. You've got the vegetable, you've got the meat, you've got the carbohydrate. You've got to worry about all that kind of stuff. And so if you can put something in the sous vide cooker for a while, that gives you more opportunity to work on other dishes.
Yeah, which is really an advantage if you're a chef or a restaurant and you've got a lot of customers waiting for their meals to be presented. So moving on to the second to the last paragraph, when cooking sous vide, however, it's crucial, remember, very important, to be aware of the danger zone. Here's our danger zone. It's between the temperatures of 4.4 degrees Celsius and 54.4 degrees Celsius. Why is this a danger zone? The danger zone, every time I see those 2 words, I think of Top Gun, the movie. Now, this is the temperature range at which bacteria can multiply rapidly or are unlikely to be killed. A lot of the reasons why we like to cook our meat in particular to a certain temperature, especially pork or chicken, is because we want to kill any bacteria that might still remain in that piece of meat that can really make you sick and sometimes can even kill you. So you want to make sure that you avoid the danger zone because that could potentially spoil the food. If you spoil the food, you ruin it.
Exactly. So you can't cook it in this temperature range, and you might spoil the food. And to ensure or guarantee food safety, it's recommended that you maintain the cooking temperature above the danger zone and comply with proper food handling guidelines. So indeed, you need to make sure the food is safe so that you don't get sick customers or sick family members. Keep that cooking temperature above the danger zone, so it has to be cooking higher than 54.4 degrees Celsius. And, of course, you also need to comply or recognize the proper food handling guidelines. Wash your hands thoroughly and cut them the proper way, etc., etc.
Right. So these are some good ideas and good reminders as well. Remember, if you're cooking chicken and you're cutting it up on a chopping board, remember, you want to clean that thoroughly before you put any other vegetables or fruits on that cutting board. Chicken is kind of a tricky thing. You have to make sure that you're doing things the right way to keep the bugs away, to keep the bacteria away. Moving on to the final paragraph, sous vide is an excellent option for home cooks and professional chefs alike. When you use that word alike, you look at what precedes it. We've got 2 different groups here, home cooks and professional cooks, and we're comparing them. We're saying it's good for both. So both of these types of cooks or chefs will enjoy using sous vide. If you like that taste, I think that's great. I think sous vide would actually be pretty popular in Taiwan because of some of the textures that you guys like to eat here. And it's sure convenient, I must say, if you're going to use it. Home cooks, you don't have to be very experienced to be a home cook. Professional chefs are usually cooking for a living. So, yeah, you don't necessarily have to wear that tall white hat that a lot of chefs are seen wearing in photos. But if you're a professional chef, it means you're being paid for your skill as a chef.
Right, so it's excellent for both home cooks and professional chefs. Just give it a try. Not only can you sharpen your culinary skills, but you'll also feel satisfied with results that will turn your taste buds into little fireworks of joy. So that's how we wrap up the lesson today. You want to sharpen your culinary skills. If you sharpen something, you make it sharper, like you're going to sharpen your pencil if you're going to take a test or something. But here, you hone your skills, you get better at what you're doing, and then you'll feel satisfied with the results. And those things on your tongue that taste things are your taste buds, and they will explode into fireworks of joy. So we wish you the best of luck with Sous Vide. Well, now it's time to listen once again to our Chinese teacher.
接着请看第3题。舒肥烹饪法有一个主要的好处是空格 ，its 是所有格，表示它的，后面只能加名词。我们从前后文来筛选。第3题正确答案是 F accuracy 准确性。紧接着请看第4题。传统的烹调方式，譬如用烤肉架烤或煎炸，往往需要推测 which can 空格这边 can 是助动词，后面要加原形动词，再用前后文文意确认。所以第4题答案选 D result in 导致，就表示传统的烹调方式用烤的或煎的炸的，常常都需要用推测的，这可能会让饭菜煮得过熟或者不熟。紧接着是第5题。好，第5题这边我们请看到 temperature 后面呢，它其实省略了关系代名词 which 代替温度，从 you 开始是关系子句，但这个关系子句缺乏一个动词，我们在选项里找，再用前后文筛选。第5题选 A desire 想要，表示运用舒肥烹饪法可以设定你想要的确切温度，进而消除这种风险。再来我们看第6题。第6题这里 while 是副词连接词，而后面的副词子句只有主词 you 并没有动词，我们必须从选项当中找出一个及物动词，后面可以加上 other tasks 当作受词。考量前后文的文意，第6题应该选 I attend to 处理，表示随后你就可以在处理其他事物的同时让奇迹发生。紧接着请看第7题。空格前面是接系词 for， 后面要加上名词，从选项里用前后文来做筛选。第7题答案选 C supervision， 就表示舒肥烹饪法几乎免去了监控的需要，让你有充分机会同时处理许多项的事物，你不用一直看着这一个食物。再来请看第4段。然而以舒肥烹饪法进行烹调的时候，注意 4.4 度 C 到 54.4 度 C 这个区间算是危险区域。怎么说呢？我们请看到这个第8题这部分，同样的呢，也是 can 是助动词，后面要加上原形动词，我们一样再用前后文来做确认。第8题答案选 G multiply繁殖，就表示在这段温度范围当中，细菌会快速的繁殖，或不太可能呢消灭。那因此食物是有可能会变质的。紧接着请看第9题。这个空格呢，原本应该要填原形动词，放在代名词 you 之后，动词 recommend 或者 it is recommended that 这个句型，它后面名词子句的动词，它前面呢因为省略了 should， 所以动词必须是原形动词。我们一样用上下文来筛选选项，所以第9题答案呢就选 J 的 maintain 维持，意思是为了要确保食品安全，建议你把烹调温度保持在高于危险区域之上，那也遵循正确的食品处理准则。最后请看到第5段，这个 Sous Vide 这一种烹饪法 是在家下厨的人还有专业厨师的绝佳选择。请你赶快试一试吧。接着呢，第10题 Not only can you sharpen your culinary skills, but you will also feel 空格 with results that will turn your taste buds into little fireworks of joy. 这里 feel 是连缀动词，后面要加形容词作为主词补语。我们用上下文筛选，第10题的答案就选 B, satisfied， 意思是你不仅可以提升烹饪技巧，而且也会对成果感到满意。好，以上就是我们针对文意选填所做的解题，谢谢大家。
That's it, guys. We hope you enjoyed learning about sous vide cooking. And if you get a chance, try it out, see if you like it. I know a lot of our listeners would enjoy it, just not me. So that's it for English Digest. We hope you'll join us again. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Tom. Goodbye.
See ya.